You have questions? America's #1 business coach has answers. It's your Broda from Minnesota. Here's another edition of Ask Clay Anything on the Thrivetime Business Coach Radio Show.
Yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Thrivetime Show. And specifically, this is another edition of the Ask Me Anything, Ask Clay Anything. I hate referring to myself in the third person, but it's the Ask Me Anything edition of the Thrivetime Show. And I'm attempting today to answer the 10 most commonly asked questions that I get asked on a very, very, very consistent basis. So the first question that I get emailed constantly to info@thrivetimeshow.com, or that people will ask me if they meet me at a workshop, or they'll ask me if they run into me around town. People always ask, Clay, what books do you recommend? What books do you recommend? And so I'm going to go ahead and give you my book recommendations. So book recommendation number 1. I would recommend that every single person listening to this show should purchase a copy of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, Napoleon Hill was the personal apprentice of Andrew Carnegie, and he sold more copies of his book than any other self-help author in the history of America, except for Jack Canfield and his book series called Chicken Soup for the Soul. I mean, Napoleon Hill, his book is absolutely a game-changing, mind-altering book, Think and Grow Rich. I think so much of that book, I regard that book so highly that I actually named my son after the author. My son's name is Aubrey Napoleon Hill Clark. Buy that book. Get it for yourselves. Treat yourselves. It's the holiday season. Get yourself a copy of Think and Grow Rich. The second book is How to Win Friends and Influence People. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Now, Dale Carnegie is the self-help expert who many people know, obviously, because of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. But why does the book matter? Why would I recommend it? Well, I honestly believe that most people struggle to influence people and to win friends. I think a lot of people just struggle to communicate effectively. If I'm being honest with you, which I think I should be on every show, I was not a very effective communicator before I read this book. And How to Win Friends and Influence People is an absolutely life-altering book if you actually implement what you're learning. I mean, how frustrating is it when you have an awesome product, an awesome service, an awesome vision, an awesome anything, and you just cannot, for whatever reason, communicate it effectively? How difficult is it to run a company if you can't effectively manage people? You don't know how to communicate to people. How frustrating could it be to try to have a podcast and it's just not getting any traction because you don't know how to communicate with people? If you've ever struggled to win friends and influence people, you got to read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. The next book number 3, is The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. Chet Holmes, it's Holmes, Chet Holmes. He actually worked with Charlie Munger. And Charlie Munger is the billionaire partner of Warren Buffett that no one seems to know. Again, Charlie Munger works with Warren Buffett. He is a billionaire, and Chet Holmes ultimately ended up going into partnership with him. And the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine, details what he learned from his time working with Charlie Munger and how to build a sustainably profitable business. He talks about how to create a sustainably executable schedule. He talks about how to build the ultimate sales machine, a business that you can scale once you nail it. It is awesome. It has a red cover. I would encourage you to purchase the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine. The next book is called Titan. Titan. It was written by Ron Chernow. Now, a lot of people don't know who Ron Chernow is, but Ron Chernow is an author who goes super, super deep into the research before he writes any of his books. And my wife bought this book for me years ago, and I cannot tell you, I can't express to you, I can't explain to you with enough detail how much the book Titan has impacted my life and the way that I think, the way that I view business. John D. Rockefeller grew up in a world where his dad was actually married to two women simultaneously. And the only person who knew was John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller was the only person who knew that his dad was married to two women simultaneously. And so at the young age of 16, John D. Rockefeller, thinks to himself, you know what? I need to be able to support my mom so that she can leave this idiot. So John D. Rockefeller left, he dropped out of school. He was a good student. He dropped out of school to support his mother. And with that pig-headed determination, that pig-headed will, that grit, that desire to be able to support his mother so that she could leave her deadbeat husband. And she had no idea, by the way, that her husband was such a horrible person. Also, John D. Rockefeller found out that his father made his income by essentially being a snake oil salesman. He was a con artist. He was a scammer. And so he just decided, you know what, I'm going to not only have some success, but have massive success so that I can support my mother so that she can be independent of this person. The book is just phenomenal. It explains how a guy who grew up poor became the world's wealthiest man. It explains how he ended up basically starting the oil and gas industry as we know it. It explains how he was able to discover uses for oil that people didn't know about. I mean, people were just using kerosene at the time, and he found out, that we could use oil byproducts to create rubber, to create gasoline. He not only founded, but he funded the creation of our national parks system. He created the first modern doctorate program. I could go on and on. This book is fascinating. It is phenomenal. It is a book that everybody needs to read. It's Titan by Ron Chernow. Then the next book everyone needs to read is Winning by Jack Welch. Winning by Jack Welch is the best management book that I have ever read. It was first introduced to me, recommended to me by Chet Cadjo. Chet is the president and the CEO of the billion-dollar company known as Quick Trip, the Quick Trip chain of convenience stores that are found all across America. In fact, they have over 750 locations right now. I believe the official number is 758 locations. You need to check out Quick Trip. That's Quicktrip. Quick Trip. And I got a chance to meet the president and CEO of this company. And I said, hey, what books would you recommend that I would read? And he said, you got to read Winning by Jack Welch. It is just a phenomenal book. The next book I'd recommend that all of our listeners check out is Start Here. Now, I know that seems self-serving that I would recommend a book that I have written, but I'm telling you, the book that I have written, I'm giving it to you for free, the ebook. You can download the ebook version of the Start Here book today for free. Just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You can find it right there. Just download the Start Here book for free. Download it. I'm telling you, this book is a compilation of all of the world's best business books. It's designed to be very actionable, very practical, and it is free to download. The ebook version is free. It's an Amazon bestseller. I promise you, you will love Start Here. And two other books that were recommended to me by Chet Cadjo are again, Chet Cadjo, the man who is the CEO and president of the 758 location billion-dollar convenience store chain known as Quick Trip, recommended the following two additional books to me. And those would be The Service Profit Chain and The Value Profit Chain. The Service Profit Chain and The Value Profit Chain. These are books that were produced by the Harvard Business School that explain to you the specific steps you need to take to create repeatable processes and systems that will allow your company to grow and to scale to the next level. Are they bestsellers? No. Why? Because best-selling books are written to what? Appeal to the masses. These books are designed to appeal to who? The leaders. And it turns out that a lot of people who are leading America's top companies don't go to Target to buy best-selling books. They're looking for books filled with case studies, data, research that are going to show them how to take their company to the next level. And it might not be, of interest to the average person, but you, as an entrepreneur, as an aspiring entrepreneur, need to pick up a copy of The Service Profit Chain and The Value Profit Chain. Now, the next question that I get asked a lot is, what do the first 3 hours of your day look like? Okay, well, basically, I wake up between 3 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. every morning. What? That's true. I wake up at between 3 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. every morning, and I design my day while focusing on setting goals for the 6 key aspects of my life. So I get up every morning between 3 and 3:30, and I ask myself, what are my primary goals today for my faith? What are my goals for my family? What are my goals for my finances? What are my goals for my fitness? What are my goals for my friendships? And what are my goals for my fun? And then I schedule them onto my to-do list and onto my calendar, and I get them done. And that is what I do every single day. And I believe that that is my superpower. Well, that doesn't seem like a superpower at all. It's just that I do it every single day. I'm of the belief that achieving success is really not that complicated. I believe it just requires getting up every day at whatever time you decide on today. Just decide today. What time are you going to wake up every day? Okay, now set your alarm for that time. Wake up, and every single day, schedule. Look at your schedule. Get your schedule in front of you. Get your to-do list in front of you. I don't have a to-do list or a schedule. Well, get both of those things. Get a to-do list and get a calendar. Get it in front of you and ask yourself, what do I need to do today in the areas of my faith, my family, my finances, my fitness, my friendship, and my fun? And then just schedule time for what matters. And then bada bing, bada boom, you'll be off to the races. And if you do it every single day for years, if you live intentionally day by day for years in a row, you can't not have success. It's almost impossible to drift at that point. Okay, the next question is, Clay, why do you believe that it's so hard to find good people? Well, the breakdown of the family is a huge problem. The breakdown of the modern family, in my opinion, is the problem. Essentially, we're now raising generations of people who don't have a solid moral compass. And people who live by the motto, if it feels good, then we should do it. So if you have the mindset of, if it feels good, we should do it, then you're going to have a morally bankrupt society, right? So the Washington Post now reports, I put all this on the show notes, 78% of the men interviewed had cheated on their current partner. What? Yes, 78% of men interviewed had cheated on their current partner. That's encouraging. I mean, at least 22% of men are being faithful. Right. Fun factoid. 75% of employees are now stealing from the workplace, and most are doing so repeatedly. 75% of employees are stealing from the workplace, according to CBS News and the U.S. Chamber. 9.4% of the population is now using an illicit drug at least once a month. 9.4% of the population. 4 to 6 million Americans now say they have a daily gambling addiction. 1 in 8 Americans, according to the Washington Post, 1 in 8 Americans are now alcoholics. The average American is now watching 5 hours of TV per day, according to Nielsen. What? The average American is now using Facebook 50 minutes a day during the workday. 50 minutes a day. What? I mean, it's like people now have a part-time job known as Facebook. I mean, people are just spending huge amounts of time on Facebook now. No wonder people can't get anything done. So why do I think it's so hard to find good people? It's because we now have a culture that says, if it feels good, you should do it. Instead of, if it feels good, you probably shouldn't do it at all because it's probably bad for you. It's probably bad. So what are we to do as employers? Well, I believe that we just have to interview more people. So I do. I faithfully host a interview every single Wednesday at 5. We interview candidates for all the different companies, and we have great people. But I live by the motto, hire character and train skill. Hire character and train skill because according to Dr. Zellner, and from my own experience, people change seldom. So summarize this, Clay. What am I supposed to do with this? my friend, what you're supposed to do as a result of this interview is you need to never stop recruiting people. Never stop recruiting people, and then always hire character and train skill. Question number 4. Clay, where do you think drive comes from? I believe that drive comes from deciding to be an outspoken enemy of average and having a deep, dark hatred for mediocrity. At least that's where my drive comes from. It's being an outspoken enemy of average and having a deep, dark hatred for mediocrity. I can't stand when people walk slow, when things are inefficient, when things are dirty, when I just can't stand going to like a gas station where you're not greeted properly. I don't know what it is. I love Quick Trip. I'm in awe of Quick Trip convenience stores. I'm in awe of Chick-fil-A. I just love Chick-fil-A. Other chicken places, not so much. But I love Chick-fil-A. I'm in awe of their excellence. I am in awe of the excellence of Quick Trip, and I'm in awe of the excellence of Chick-fil-A. I am in awe. I am wowed by the excellence of Starbucks. And I am underwhelmed by virtually every other coffee place. I love the consistency and the excellence of Starbucks. I don't like going to Disney World. I like to go into Disneyland, but I love the way it's run. It's so efficient. It's so awesome. It's so excellent. So I think, again, going back to this question, where do you think drive comes from? Where do I think my drive comes from? My drive comes from being an outspoken enemy of average and having a deep, dark hatred for mediocrity. I just, as a kid, I stuttered a lot. I got made fun of a lot. We didn't have a lot of money. And so I just had this deep, dark drive to just go out there and to prove everybody wrong and to just go, in your face, in your face. That's what I wanted to do. In your face. Now my drive has changed from that to wanting to mentor millions. So I just want to be the mentor that I wish I would have had at a younger age. I want to be able to be there for you guys when you have questions. I want to be able to answer them for you. I want to be able to teach you what you need to know to take your life and your business to the next level. There's no reason that you can't have both time and financial freedom in this great land of opportunity. You just have to learn the practical skills needed to create that time freedom and financial freedom. And sadly, the modern school system does an awful job of teaching you how to become an entrepreneur. And why? Well, it's because if the teachers on the college campuses or in the high school were very good at being entrepreneurs, they certainly wouldn't be working in the public school system for very little money, right? So there's a Steve Jobs interview that he did. It's called The Lost Interview. You can YouTube it, Steve Jobs, The Lost Interview. And he explains that the reason why public education and colleges don't teach entrepreneurship, it's because the kind of people that are entrepreneurs are not going to teach the classes. They're just not going to, because they're out there running a successful company. If they're very, very good at marketing, they'll probably be out there doing marketing. So I just feel called now to help people like you. I don't feel, it's a calling. And again, the word vocation comes from the Latin word meaning calling. And vacation means to retreat from. And I have zero desire to go on vacation anymore. And I have 100% desire to help you learn what you need to know to start and grow a successful company. The next question. What would someone do once they reach their financial goals and don't know what to do with their time? What should someone, let me read it again. What should someone do once they reach their financial goals and don't know what to do with their time? Well, I have run into this problem as well, so I can relate to it. It sounds like just such a terrible problem. You guys have all the money you want. You don't know what to do with it. Oh, okay. No, but this is really a thing. Most of my clients get to this place in their life where they have more money than they ever thought they would have because they've implemented the proven systems, and now they're where they want to be financially, but now it's like, what do I do with all my time? That's why I think it's important every single day to ask yourself, what are your goals in the areas of faith, family, finances, fitness, friendship, and fun. I think it's so important to ask yourself this every single morning, and ask yourself this on paper. Write it down. Put it on your to-do list. Put it on your calendar. Ask yourself, what are my goals today for faith? What are my goals today for my family? Just as an example, as I'm recording this today, my goal for family is to make sure that we have a great Thanksgiving. So I made a list of some people we wanted to invite over on Friday after Thanksgiving. I made a list of the activities that I want to do as a family that I think we would all enjoy doing together. I ordered a barbecued a smoked turkey. I ordered a smoked turkey from Oklahoma Joe's, etc. But those are goals for my family. Faith. Previous to recording right now, I just finished listening to T.D. Jakes. Why? Because every single day I want to spiritually feed myself. Every single day I want to do it. I want to make sure that I am not drifting. Finances. Every single week, my wife looks at the numbers. We look at the budget every single Friday, so we're not drifting, right? So faith, family, finances, fitness, friendship, fun, you get the point. But if you don't do that for, let's say, like a year in a row, what's going to happen is you're going to find yourself in a weird place because of this thing that Napoleon Hill discovered years ago. It's called drifting. Drifting. It's where you know where you're supposed to go. Like you're on a boat, let's say, you're on a pontoon boat, you're headed out to the destination, and then you look down and you get involved in a long conversation with somebody. Next thing you know, you look up and you're almost running aground because you haven't paid attention and haven't made those small corrections along the way. Now you find yourself on the verge of running right into the shoreline. And that's not a positive thing. It's not a positive thing to be running into a shoreline while you're on a pontoon boat filled with your friends and family. And Napoleon Hill calls it drifting. He said, drifting without aim or purpose is the first cause of failure. Question number 6. This just in. Question number 6. On average, what time do you wake up? The question is, what time do you wake up? Well, my friend, on average, I wake up at 3 a.m. or 3:30 a.m. But I always wake up at whatever time I need to in order to get things done. Again, on average, I wake up at 3 a.m. or 3:30, but I always wake up at whatever time I need to in order to get things done. Benjamin Franklin once famously wrote, he said, early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I really didn't get into my voice until like halfway through that read. So let me try it again here. Here we go. Let me get the epic music going. This quote comes to us from Benjamin Franklin, the American polymath, one of the founding fathers of the United States, a man who is a leading author, a printer, a political theorist, a politician, a Freemason, a poet, master scientist, an inventor, a civic activist, a statesman, a diplomat, a man who invented the bifocals, the lightning rod, the Franklin stove, the first flexible catheter. I don't know why I know that, but he also started Philadelphia's first fire department and the University of Pennsylvania. And he says, early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Yeah, I mean, so I went to bed last night like at 9 o'clock, I always go to bed at 9 o'clock. I don't watch TV, so I don't need to finish watching my show, And if there's an NFL game on that I'm watching, because I like to watch the Patriots, that's probably the only time I'll stay up past my bedtime, and I might stay up till like 9:15. I usually just go to bed, then I'll watch the highlights of it, the highlights of the game, because this just in. They put the highlights of the game on YouTube. I can watch it there. But I'm not going to have like a crappy day because I want to stay up the night before watching something. I don't do it. Every single night I go to bed at 9 o'clock. And so go to bed at 9, and sleep for 6 hours, 6.5 hours. That's 3:30. Boom, there I am. Clay, next question. What is the biggest thing you learned about starting a business? Oh, well, this is what I have learned. Starting a business is very easy. The actual, finding a problem that people have and that they're willing to pay you to solve. In my opinion, this is from my experience, I believe starting a business is very easy. I believe the step-by-step process you need to take to grow a business, that's really easy for me to teach as well. Very easy for me to teach. And if you're a diligent person, it'll be very easy for you to implement the system as well. So if you come to a workshop, by the way, you'll find this. I mean, the systems I will teach are very doable. It just works. You can do it, right? But the problem is the people thing. See, the people problem is the issue. The actual technical step-by-step, this is what you do to grow a church, that's easy. This is the step-by-step process of growing a business. That is easy. That is just so easy. It is super easy to grow a business.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Right, don't call me Shirley. But here's the big problem. The problem is the people. You see, nearly 100% of the people, nearly 100% of the people that work with you when you start the business will not be there with you within 24 months. Because betrayal, backstabbing, and entitlement are normal. It's going to happen. You're going to be screwed over by virtually everyone you know. So heaven help you if you go out there and start a company, with a friend. Because if you do that, I mean, your friend is probably going to betray you at some point. People, I'm just telling you how it is. People, this is what they do. And it's not, money doesn't make people weird, by the way. Money is just a magnifier. Money just magnifies who people are. So you have someone on your team who, seems like a good guy, but, he occasionally freaks out and goes out on a bender and, wakes up drunk as a skunk in a bush somewhere. But now with money, a lot of money, this person will become almost entirely drunk all the time. You almost can't count on them for anything because money just magnified their alcoholism. Or you'll find somebody who gambles a little bit, and now with money, they just gamble all the time, right? People just get weird. I've been backstabbed and betrayed by family members, by cousins, by so-called friends, people from college. I've had one of my good friends from college, I thought at the time, I hired him to DJ for a wedding for one of my first business ventures called DJconnection.com. And this would be like in 2000-ish, 2001, 2000. And he straight up just skipped somebody's wedding. He just skipped it. So I went through like a personal hell, scrambling, trying to find a backup DJ, trying to find backup equipment, renting backup equipment, rushing around town to get somebody over there while I was personally already DJing. We only had like 4 disc jockeys at the time, and I had a personal hell. I had to rent equipment last minute on a Saturday, find somebody to DJ the show, and I get a hold of the guy finally. He tells me that he forgot he had a show. What do you mean you forgot you had a show? I loaded you up that morning with the equipment. He said, I thought it was Sunday. I guess I got any information. My paths crossed, Found out later he was out there actually on a date with a girl that started kind of early in the day. And I guess that date ended up turning into a horizontal connection, a horizontal intersection of passion. And he ended up enjoying a parallel universe while skipping someone else's wedding. Unbelievable. And the fact that he didn't feel bad about it, the fact that he totally made up a story that wasn't true, I thought, man, that's terrible. But then virtually every single disc jockey that I had did that kind of stuff every time. Years ago, I had one company where we hired a guy's sister, and she just became the worst employee ever. Couldn't show up on time, couldn't dress professional, can't hit deadlines, just terrible. And then when you call the person out on it, they make it like it's a personal attack. And so you just have to, if you're going to start a business, you have to become very comfortable with being alone. Let me tell you this. When you get up to the mountaintop, it's not crowded. Let's just say that. I think that's why a lot of top performers become friends with top performers, because success is a universal habit, it's universal systems. And so when you get to the top, the pinnacle, to the apex of what you want to achieve in terms of success, you're going to find that there's not a whole lot of people up there because, very few people wake up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. every day, and so when you get up at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. every day, it becomes like a habit, So when you get to the top, you get up there and there's nobody else up there because nobody wants to get up at 3 o'clock or 4 a.m. to get started down the path. And so you're significantly ahead of the average person because you get up earlier, because you actually are aiming for a big mountaintop. Most people just aim for small hills. no one's even on the right path. I mean, not only are they not waking up early enough, and you have a competitive unfair advantage every day because you wake up earlier, but they're not even aiming for mountains. Most people aren't aiming for mountains; they're aiming for hills, and so they're on the foothills of poverty, and you're on the mountains of success. You're climbing mountains of money, and these guys are on this path of poverty, self-imposed poverty, and so it just becomes a thing where, over time, then the people who have the poverty mindset, who are aiming for these pathetic poverty goals on this figurative poverty hill, they look up and they go, wait a minute, that's that guy I know from high school. Look at him on top of mountain money. Who does he think he is? And they start throwing rocks up there, because there's a lot of them, and it's kind of a mob mentality. Most people don't have success, and so 9 out of 10 business owners fail, right? 9 out of 10 startups, according to Forbes, 9 out of 10 startups fail. Think about that. 8 out of 10 existing businesses fail. So rather than trying to get to the top of the mountain or even asking you for help, they begin to just throw rocks at you. They love it. They go on social media throwing rocks at you. They love to attack you, call you out by name, glare at you in public, and so it just becomes a thing where that's the hardest part of business. And that's why I live behind a wall. That's why I enjoy my man cave. That's why I enjoy reading books behind my, I just like to read books. I like to enjoy the man cave. I like to be behind the wall. I like all that. That's why I'm building a grotto and a waterfall to, read my books behind. That's why I don't like going out very much. I don't like going out in other cities. I'm just not a big fan of going out in my own city because I always run into somebody who I've competed against in business, or someone that I've had to fire, or it just gets kind of weird. So that's the hardest part of business for me, is learning how to deal with the endless backstabbing, betrayal, and the entitlement that's a norm. And to give you a little encouraging quote, Ben Horowitz, the investor, the author, the guy behind the founding of Opsware, that's OPSware, Ben Horowitz actually built Opsware and sold the company to Hewlett-Packard in 2007 for $1.6 billion in cash. He writes in his book here called The Hard Thing About Hard Things, where he documents essentially the toughest challenges of growing a business and the biggest things that he learned from starting a business. He writes, every time I read a management or self-help book, I find myself saying, that's fine, but that wasn't really the hard thing about the situation. The hard thing isn't setting a big, hairy, audacious goal. The hard thing is laying people off when you miss the goal. The hard thing isn't hiring great people. The hard thing is when those great people develop a sense of entitlement and start demanding unreasonable things. The hard thing isn't setting up an organizational chart. The hard thing is getting people to communicate within the organizational chart that you just designed. The hard thing isn't dreaming big. The hard thing is waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat when the dream turns into a nightmare. Clay, next question. Why is it so important to have a to-do list? Great question. My friend, it's because the pen is for remembering and the mind is for thinking. Again, I repeat, the pen is for remembering and the mind is for thinking. Here's a notable quotable for you. An educated man is not necessarily one who has an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. An educated man is one who has developed the faculties of the mind, that he may acquire anything he wants or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. Henry Ford comes well within the meaning of this definition. Now, again, this is from Napoleon Hill. Who's Napoleon Hill? He wrote Think and Grow Rich. Oh, the book you recommended earlier. Right. So Think and Grow Rich by who? Napoleon Hill. I would encourage you to pick up that book, enjoy that book, read that book, devour the book, and then maybe name your son after the author of that book, because it will change your life. Think about that. An educated man is not necessarily one who has an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. Not somebody who's memorized the phone book or memorized the encyclopedia or somebody who scores well on tests. An educated man is one who has so developed the faculties of his mind that he may acquire anything he wants or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. Henry Ford comes well within the meaning of the definition. So Napoleon Hill goes on to write, in the book Think and Grow Rich, the timeless self-help classic. He says, during the World War, a Chicago newspaper published certain editorials in which, among other statements, Henry Ford was called an ignorant pacifist. Mr. Ford objected to the statements and brought suit against the paper for libeling him. When the suit was tried in the courts, the attorneys for the paper pleaded justification and placed Mr. Ford himself on the witness stand for the purposes of proving to the jury that he was ignorant. Again, the media's throwing rocks at somebody who's having success. Somebody who's enjoying a peaceful meal on Mount Awesome is being attacked by the media. The attorneys asked Mr. Ford a great variety of questions, all of them intended to prove by his own evidence that while he might possess considerable specialized knowledge pertaining to the manufacturing of automobiles, he was, in the main, ignorant. Mr. Ford was plied with such questions as the following. Or you could say Mr. Ford was asked such questions as the following. Who was Benedict Arnold, and how many soldiers did the British send over to America to put down the rebellion in 1776? In answer to the last question, Mr. Ford replied, I do not know the exact number of soldiers the British sent over, but I have heard that it was a considerably larger number than ever went back. All right. Finally, Mr. Ford became tired of this line of questioning, and in reply to a particularly offensive question, he leaned over, pointed his finger at the lawyer who asked the question, and said, if I should really want to answer the foolish question you have just asked, or any other questions you've been asking me, let me remind you that I now have a row of electronic push buttons on my desk. And by pushing the right button, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire to ask concerning the business to which I am devoting most of my efforts. Now, will you kindly tell me why I should clutter up my mind with general knowledge for the purposes of being able to answer questions when I have men around me who can supply me any knowledge that I require? There certainly was good logic to that reply. The answer floored the lawyer. Every person in the courtroom now realized it was the answer not of an ignorant man, but of a man of education. Any man is educated who knows where to get knowledge when he needs it and how to organize that knowledge into definite plans of action. Through the assistance of the mastermind group, kind of like his big network, right? Henry Ford had at his command all the specialized knowledge he needed to enable him to become one of the wealthiest men in America. It was not essential that he have this knowledge in his own mind. Surely no person who has a sufficient inclination and intelligence enough to read a book of this nature can possibly miss the significance of this illustration. Well said, Mr. Napoleon Hill. The next question. We have 2 questions left. What is metatime and why is it so vital? Well, my friend, metatime comes from the Greek word meaning above. Meta means above. So what you want to do every day is you want to get up every day before you're interrupted, before the fires start, before chaos begins, before the backstabbing and betrayal occurs, before life happens, right? You want to get up every single day, just like if you were in a battle, let's say. And I don't think, business should be compared to, war and the sacrifices that people who've obviously lost their lives fighting for, but it just worked with me on this analogy. You want to, if you're like the leader of an army, you'd want to make your plan previous to being shot at, right? But then is the moment that you attack the enemy, or the enemy attacks you, large portions of that plan immediately are useless because you're engaging with a battle of the enemy. So you don't just throw out all of your plans, but then you huddle up again and you refine your plans. And this is the rhythm of entrepreneurship. You define what you think is going to work, right? Then you act. Then you measure the results, and then you refine those plans. But you got to do it daily. You define, act, measure, refine. That's the rhythm of an entrepreneur. Define, act, measure, refine. Define, act, measure, refine. Here we go. Define. Okay. Act. All right. Measure. And refine. So every single day, I just get up every single day and I say to myself, Self, what are my goals for my family? And last night or the day before or the week before, maybe there was some drama that occurred in the extended family or something. I don't know. And I just refined my goals. So, self, what are my goals for my family? What are my goals for my faith? What are my goals for my fitness? What are my goals for my friendship? What are my goals for my fun? What are my goals for my faith, my family, my finances, my fitness, my friendship, and my fun? And then as soon as I go out there and hop into my work day, here comes the chaos every day. Every day there's chaos. And why is there chaos every day? Because of the communists? No, it's not because of the communists. It's because that's how life works, right? So you've got to get up every single day and plan out your day before you start to try to execute your plan. Because if you don't do that, you're going to just get run over each and every day. And when you get run over every day and you don't have a fallback position or you don't have clearly defined plans, it's not good. I have like plans and then backup plans. When I start a company, I have a plan to start the company, to fund the company, to grow the company. But if it doesn't work, I have a backup plan. And then if that doesn't work, I have another backup plan. I usually go into business with plan A, B, C, D. I go deep with my plans because I know that at the moment that my perfect plan encounters the opposition, the enemy, the competition, the whatever, I'm going to have to, it's chaos will ensue. And so I just go back to my plan B. It's like I don't know, flying like an F-16 jet, let's say, and over enemy territory and, wearing a parachute. Well, somebody had to think about, hey, we probably need a parachute. Someone else had to think about, hey, I got this invention for this thing called a parachute. Somebody else had to think about, how are we going to make a parachute? Someone else had to think about, hey, how are we going to get out of the cockpit when we need to? Someone else had to think about, there's all these details. It's not just, it's not smart to just say, well, if we get attacked, I'm going to be able to just get out of the plane. That's my plan. How are you going to get out of the plane? Who's going to make the parachute? Where are you going to procure the materials? Who's going to make them? How does it fit? How does it work? Should we test this thing first? These are all things that I ask myself during meta time. It's just an obsession with building something that's excellent and thinking about all of the possible worst case scenarios that are probably going to happen and how am I going to overcome those things? That's just what I do on a daily basis. So meta time, from the Greek word meaning above. So every day you get up and you ask yourself, what do I want to do with my life today in the areas of my faith, my family, my finance, my fitness, my friendship, and my fun? Now, Lee Cockrell couldn't be here today, but Lee Cockrell is sort of like the godfather of time management in my mind. He's the guy who used to manage Walt Disney World Resorts and 40,000 employees as the executive vice president of Walt Disney World Resorts. Do you realize this? Did you guys realize that Lee Cockrell once managed over 1 million guests per week, 1 million customers a week at the Orlando-based Walt Disney World Resorts, 1 million customers a week and 40,000 employees. And so this is what the godfather of time management has to say about time management and meta time. You either pay now or you pay later with just about every decision you make about where and how you spend your time. He says you either pay now or you pay later with just about every decision you make about where and how you spend your time. Can I get some freaking meatballs here? Can I get some meatballs? Okay. He goes on to write, he says, the quality of your life is directly affected by how and where you spend your time. Ain't that right, Sneaks? Sneaks! Sneaks! Come on! Cooperate with me. All right, boss. So I'll say it. Sneaks, I need you to say it like you mean it. I want you to repeat this quote. Sneaks, how do I even know if you're paying attention? Sneaks, do you want me to rip the head off of another horse? Do you want a horse head in your bed, Sneaks? You better pay some freaking attention. Well, make sure you're wearing some concrete shoes later tonight. All right, boss. The quality of your life is directly affected by how and where you spend your time. Right, boss. Right. Sneaks, sometimes I find myself thinking about fitting you for some concrete shoes. some concrete shoes so you can sleep with the fishes. Okay, boss, I'll pay better attention. I will. Snakes, let's do this next notable quote that I wrote early in my lifetime. It says, one way to get your priorities accomplished is to schedule them into your calendar. Ain't that right, Snakes? Right, boss. One way to get your priorities accomplished is to schedule them into your calendar. Snakes, whose calendar? My calendar? That's right, Snakes. That's good. You're paying attention. I'm impressed. My friend, that is, again, the Godfather, notable quotables from the Godfather of time management, Lee Cockrell. And the final question, the Big 10, question number 10. Where do most business owners get it wrong when trying to grow a business? Well, I believe that your business in and of itself should not be the end-all destination. I believe that your business should be viewed as a vehicle to help you achieve your goals and to help you earn, right? To help you what? And to help you earn both time and financial freedom. I think the purpose of, again, a business is to help you get both time and financial freedom for your family, to help you earn both time and financial freedom for your family. I think that is the purpose of a business. I don't think the business itself is the destination. Imagine that you were wanting to go to Florida to go out to Walt Disney World Resorts, and therefore you flew in a 737, right? So you buy tickets, commercial airline tickets, Southwest Airlines, probably round trip is probably, $450 to go to Orlando and back on a 737 jet from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Work with me on this concept, this analogy here. So if you are flying from Tulsa to Orlando on a 737, what's the goal? What's the purpose? Well, the goal is to take the family to Disney World. Right. But what if instead of flying on a 737, you decided to charter a private jet for just your family? Now the cost to get to Orlando would be like what? $15,000? $20,000? I don't know. What does it cost for jet fuel? What does it cost to have a private pilot? What does it cost to have a private chartered jet to fly from Tulsa to Orlando? Well, when you get to Orlando, you probably won't have any money to spend on the trip if you dropped $20,000 just getting there. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs that view their business that way. They spend every single second of their day building a company so that they can leave a legacy. They want to leave a legacy. Well, it's so hard to, leave a legacy if you've spent every single waking hour of your life working. You got to enjoy the ride, enjoy the fruits of your efforts. The business should just be a vehicle to help you earn time and financial freedom. The business itself should not be the end game. Michael Gerber, the best-selling author of the E-Myth book series, writes, if your business depends on you, you don't own a business. You have a job. And it's the worst job in the world because you're working for a lunatic. I repeat, if your business depends on you, you don't own a business. You have a job. And it's the worst job in the world because you're working for a lunatic. Wow, that was pretty harsh, Michael. Okay, this next notable quotable from Michael Gerber, the best-selling author of the E-Myth book series, is, with no clear picture of how you wish your life to be, how on earth are you going to live it? What is your primary aim? What is the script to make your dreams come true? What is the first step to take, and how do you measure your progress? How far have you gone, and how close are you to getting to your goals? So the question is, again, where do most business owners get it wrong when trying to grow a business? I believe they get it wrong by having the wrong goals. The business should just be a vehicle to help get you where you want to go. The business exists to serve you. You do not exist to serve the business. You do not exist to serve the business because the business exists to serve you. Who? You. Who does the business exist to serve? You. The whole point of the business is to serve you. The entire reason for starting a company is so that you can have time freedom and financial freedom. It is not... A business does not exist to give you a sense of self-worth. It does not exist to be the end-all, be-all. A business does not exist for any other reason than to serve you. And so if you want the business to serve you, do it. But I can tell you this, nobody else out there wants the business to serve you. No one else cares about your time freedom and your financial freedom. Nobody else really cares about your schedule. No one cares about your life balance or lack thereof. Very few people care about your life balance, except for you, right? So what you have to do, if you want to create a life where you work really hard during the day from between 3 a.m. and noon, and you come back home and you hop in the hot tub, and yes, I just love this hot tub. I get in here every single day at noon. I just get in here and read my books and just marinate and just have. If that's what you want to do, if that's what success looks like for you, then do it. If success looks like after work every day, I like to go to the top of the mountaintop and to read my books and to play table tennis, and I want to have my own indoor racquetball facility so that I can play somebody else head to head. That's fine. If you want to become a cricket rancher, if you define success as raising crickets, that's fine. If you want to work out from 3 in the morning until noon, and then you want to come home and write rap songs,
oh baby, I like it raw.
Yes.
Yeah, baby,
Yes.
I like it raw.
That's fine. You can do that.
Baby, I like it.
You can do whatever you want to do. If you want to be a minefield tester, you said, you work all day, 3 o'clock until noon. You say, I love to run out in the minefields to see where the mines are. If that's what you want to do, do it. If you want to buy an old school edition of Galaga, and you want to come home from work every day and play Galaga, that's cool. If you want to travel to the North Chicago and look for the restaurants and bars that pay homage to Harry Carey, you can do that.
Holy cow!
If you want to become a sports psychologist and you want to follow around people on the golf course all day, talking to them about why they're struggling to hit the ball properly and they're struggling to harness their energy the right way. If you want to become, if you want to work from 3 o'clock until noon every day, 3 in the morning till noon, and you just say, when I come home, all I want to do is think about golf and how to become one with the ball.
A lot of pressure. You got to rise above it. You got to harness in the good energy, block out the bad. Harness, energy, block, bad. Feel the flow happy. Feel it. It's circular. It's like a carousel. You pay the quarter, you get on the horse. It goes up and down and around. Circular, circle with the music, the flow.
Whatever you want to do, the business exists to serve you. If you want to build a dojo or a series of dojos in your backyard, like my main man Johnny G did, Johnny G, the guy who famously invented the spin class movement, he created a series of dojos in the back of his house. He literally has transformed his backyard into like a tropical rainforest in Santa Barbara, California. It's unbelievable. If you want to turn your backyard into a dojo, go do it. But you got to know what you want to do, because no one cares about your success more than you. My friend, you must accept the fact that a business exists to serve you. And if you are stuck in a perpetual hamster race, a circle, and you go to work, you go to church, you go home, you go to work, you go to church, you go home, you go to work, you go to church, you go home. If you find yourself stuck in the circle, perhaps you need to look for an exit ramp. Right? Right. Okay. That, my friend, is where most business owners get it wrong when trying to grow a business. They don't know where they want to go, and they don't believe that the business exists to serve them, and they run around just working in this business every single hour of every single day and never enjoying the fruits of their efforts. My name's Clay Clark, and that's my answers to the big 10 questions that great people like you have been asking me consistently. I hope you found this to be beneficial, and I would love to see you at our next in-person Thrivetime Show workshop. You can book your tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. That's thrivetimeshow.com. At the time of the recording of today's show, we are now the world's highest and most reviewed business workshop. We have over 925 objective video reviews from real conference attendees, over 1,000 reviews on iTunes, hundreds of reviews on Google. I would encourage you to just do your research. Go to YouTube, type in Thrivetime Show Reviews, look at great people like you, beautiful people just like you, and ask yourself, is this what I need in my life? I believe it is. It's a 2-day, 15-hour, very interactive workshop. We do 45-minute educational sprints, and then we pause for 15 minutes to take a little stretch break and for you to write down any of your questions, and we commit to answering each and every business question that every single entrepreneur asks us. It is interactive, it's engaging, it's entertaining, it is life-changing, and I would be honored to serve you at our next in-person Thrive Time Show workshop. And now without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom.